Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new American Tier 6 Premium Medium tank, the T34 Calliope. This is an M4A3 Sherman with the rocket tubes on top. It's the first tank in World War II to have rockets. They aren't ATGMs, they aren't missiles, they aren't guided, they are unguided rockets. Once you pull the trigger, they just go in a straight line, pretty much. And they are a bit of a meme. They're not that effective unless against a tank that literally has no armour. And yeah, they can be a bit of a pain to use effectively. But this tank is one of those that you don't really want to take too seriously. It's basically a meme tank. It's a meme Sherman because your gun's okay. It's not that good really. And against tier 8s especially, it's poo. Your rockets, like I say, good against the tanks that don't really have much armour. But once you face tanks that have got pretty decent armour, they don't do that much. Your mobility's okay. You have no real camo because of how tall this tank is. It basically doesn't have any camo. And yeah, you don't really want to take this tank too seriously. And I mean, if you completed all 5 seasons for the resolutions thing, you got this tank for free, which is good. And yeah, just enjoy just taking it out for the meme and trying to rocket people and stuff like that. I've enjoyed trying to rocket people. It's been a good laugh, but it is a little bit difficult to use because it's as big as it is as big as a house, and when you do get bottom tier a lot, it's not the most useful tank in the universe, but it can be pretty hilarious, realistically. And you do get this camo as well for 3,000 gold, which I would always say wait for a camo discount to get it for 1,500 gold, but it's a pretty damn nice camo for the T34 Calliope. So let's get into the statistics of the Calliope. It's got a 520 horsepower engine with a 48 km/h top speed and an 18 km/h reverse speed. 15.97 horsepower per ton ratio, which means it hits this 48 km/h top speed quite easily, and obviously it'll hit the reverse speed as well. You've got a 20% fire chance, which is on the higher end of the fire... Well, it is the high end of the fire chances, which means this thing will get lit up a fair amount. You've got to be careful of that with the engine fires and the fuel tanks. Can be a little bit annoying, because you'll take one hit from something like a Matilda, or not Matilda, but you know what I mean. You'll get shot by something with low alpha, essentially, like an M7, for example, or a Ram 2, and it'll set you on fire, and you're like, oh, come on. So be careful of that fire chance. You've got 850 hit points, which is a decent slab of hit points for a tier 6, but you do have to be careful when you're firing the rockets, because you can tunnel vision the rockets quite easily, and not realise that you're taking loads of hits while firing those rockets, and your hit points will disappear very quickly. You just got to be very careful of that. You got a 36 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is it's pretty decent. You can make that better with clutch braking or the traction system if you wanted to. You got 2.1 on soft, 1.3 on medium, and 1.1 on firm on the terrain resistances, which is not too bad. Doesn't hold the tank back with its top speed whatsoever, really. You've got 384 meters of still concealment, which, like I say, it's as big as a house. It's basically got no camo. I set it up with the crew just to try and knock the camo down a little bit so that I have a chance of, you know, staying unspotted for a little while. But you might want to just not focus on that whatsoever, because it is as big as a house. It's very easy to spot. You will get outspotted quite a lot. You do have 370 meters view range, though, which is pretty decent for a tier 6 medium. You can get that up to a decent view range with food, situational awareness, born leader, and optics, which is not too bad. You've got 36 degrees a second on the turret rotation, which is just as fast as the hull rotation, so it doesn't really keep up with the tank as much if you turn the opposite way while trying to turn the turret. You've got 1.3 meters accuracy during rotation on the turret, which is not that great, really. You want to help that out with snapshot, with the gun stabilizer, etc., if you can, because it's really not that great. You've got 25 degrees of elevation, though, which is a hell of a lot. It means you'll be able to look up ridge lines really quite easily with it. You've got 10 degrees of gun depression, which is fine, although the gun depression is a little bit wonky on this tank because of the way that the rocket launcher tubes are. There's a lot of little areas where you will struggle to get the gun depression, and you'll notice your gun depression does bump up a little bit every now and then, and it does make it a little bit awkward to fight on a ridgeline with it because of that. But you can use the rocket tubes to look over ridgelines and shoot down with, which can be hilarious as well. You've got 3 seconds reload, which gives you 2.2k DPM, which is really not too bad, but the gun itself isn't that great. So you got 0.36 accuracy, which has crested the 0.35 accuracy barrier, where you're starting to get into the more derpy area. Although 0.36 isn't too bad, and you can get that down to a decent area, it's just the shell velocity which makes it feel even worse, realistically. You've got 2.76 accuracy during movement, which is really not that good. You want to help that if you can with the stabilizer and with run and gun and stuff like that. You've got 2-second aim time, which is really good though. It means the gun does get aimed in very, very quickly, and it really does. The 75mm gun does aim in pretty damn quickly, which is good. You've got AP, APCR, and HE as your main ammunition. You've got 2.2 KDPM, which is what we've already been over. You got 117 penetration on the AP rounds, 159 on the APCR rounds, and 38 on the HE, with 682 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, 815 meters a second shell velocity on the APCR. Honestly, the shell velocity on this standard AP makes it feel horrific at shooting at distance. It really doesn't feel very good at shooting at distance whatsoever, this tank. And you probably, if you're firing at distance, you're probably more likely to load the APCR, not for the penetration, but for the shell velocity to actually make it so you can hit the shots decently. And even then, the shell velocity at 815 isn't the best. And 117 penetration on the AP is a struggle at Tier 6, especially when you get in Tier 8 games. That's not going to do anything. The 159 penetration on the APCR will be able to deal with some of the Tier 8s, but even then, there is a lot of Tier 8s that you're just not going to pen whatsoever with that penetration. So that does really hold it back in a bottom tier matchup. As you can see, you got a 122%, you got 22% silver bonus with a 35% tank XP bonus. You got a bit of a free XP bonus as well. That's the bonuses for the free Calliope that you've just got, if you complete the 5 seasons at least. And yeah, it's a 15-second reload on the rocket launcher with a, well, you don't have to pay attention to the accuracy, it's just you fire, essentially, with all of this. There is no aim time or anything. You get 6 shots in the rocket launcher before it reloads for that 15 seconds, which I think we get down to about 10 seconds or something like that with the cruise setup and stuff. And you do have 65 pen with 250 damage on these rockets. These rockets do splash, by the way, so yeah, if you're hitting more thinly armoured tanks that you can't pen with 65 pen, you will splash for like 30-40 damage, just like if you were firing low caliber HE, pretty much. And yeah, you've got 264 meters a second shell velocity on the rockets, which is really, really slow. And like I say, most of the time, if you will see these rockets coming and you'll be able to get out of the way very, very easily. It is pretty difficult to use these rockets at range on this tank. So that's the statistics for the Calliope. What do I run in terms of a crew? Well, let me get the crew out of the old Thunderbolt and stick it in the Calliope. So, in terms of a crew on this tank, I've been running Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Running Gun, Snapshot, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot. Now, you can change this crew very easily, because I run the 3 gun perks because you really do need to help that 75mm gun. It is pretty awful, so you want to help that out with that. These 5 perks in general, are what you're going to take on every tank. These 2 are fairly unnecessary on the Calliope. I don't think you really do need them. You're probably better off taking Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, and something like Clutch Braking to be able to make the track go quicker so you can turn the tank faster, essentially. Or you could run Armour, and the reason I say Gunsmith, I should say, it's not Armour anymore. Gunsmith is because people shoot those rocket tubes a lot and it breaks your gun. So you've got to be very, very careful of that. You could run Deadeye as well. I don't think they'd work for the rockets whatsoever, but it could work for your standard one. There's plenty you could run. I mean, Deadeye's not one that I would actually take, to be honest. But you could take Armour Angling as well. That is another one you could take. You could take Armour Angling because you will be taking a hit at least or 2 to deal these rockets out, so you could reduce the amount of damage coming in. Or you could run the track mechanic to be able to get your tracks back on quicker if you do get tracked, because there is a lot of tanks that could perma-track you in Tier 5 and 6. It's completely down to you and how you want to set up the tank. I just set it up like this just so I could at least get some sort of camo out of it, or reduce how far away I am getting spotted by the enemy tanks, is essentially what I did. Although Muffled Shot is definitely unnecessary, I think, actually, to be honest. So, obviously, I run food, I run the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Did that not want to put it on, game? No, apparently it did not. Well, take it this way. I run the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. I run Optics because I want to make the view range 10% better. I run the Advanced Loader because I want to make my DPM 10% better, and obviously I want to make the rocket tubes reload quicker as well. And the Optics to be able to spot for myself so that I can spot for myself and, all that good stuff. The Gun Stabilizer because, the gun is poor. I want to help it. Let's see if getting out actually lets me put the Advanced Loader back on. No, apparently not. So, yeah, that's bugged, so I can't do that. But let's have a quick look at the statistics of the tank with the crew in it. So you can see the ground resistances have got a little bit better. The camo's got a little bit better at 378, but only 10 meters really. The view range is now 430, but remember you put optics on, you're probably pushing that past 450 view range. With the crew, only the crew in it, you've got a 2.4 second reload. You've got 39 degrees a second turret rotation now as well, though, which you can get even better if you put rapid aim on, which is probably a good idea, to be perfectly honest. You can get that up to 42 degrees a second. With that, 0.86 accuracy during rotation with just the crew run and gun skill. You've got 1.97 accuracy during movement as well, which is a little bit better. And obviously, if you run gun stabilizer, that's going to get better too. 1.84 second aim time. Obviously, those stats will be better with the equipment in, but for some reason, it's not letting me put the equipment back on. Who knows why? Oh, there we go. All we had to do was click onto something else. There we go. So you can see your view range is now 473. Your DPM is now 3K. It's 2.2 seconds reload. Your accuracy during rotation is 0.69. Your accuracy during movement is 1.58. Yeah, good times. Your reload on your rockets is now 10.94. There you go. That's the statistics of the tank while it's fully equipped out like that. So let's say the DPM is fantastic on this 75mm gun. The problem is actually being effective with the gun, because the gun is just a bit of a pain in the ass at times, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that's the Calliope. It's, like I say, it's not really the most competitive tank in the universe, but you can have some absolute memes in it. And realistically as well, because of the rockets, because of the multi-weapon system that this thing has, there could be some silly games in this tank. If you manage to have one of those games where everybody ignores you, you catch people out, and slam rockets up people's backsides where they don't really... You know, there's a lot of tanks in this game that have 20 to 30 millimeters of armor. There's a lot of tanks that you'll be able to catch out, and if you get them in the rear, you're going to do some serious damage with these rockets. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see those outlier games that have ridiculous damage, just because of the fact that they have the meme potential. It is the meme potential. It's like the Caliban, for me, really. That it's not the best of tanks, but if you get the right circumstances, you can have a whale of a time with it and do some silly stuff. So yeah, that's the Calliope. It's a pretty memey tank, to be fair. And we've all got it for free, so it's a good time. And obviously, I think you can get it on... I think, is it on discount if you completed so many seasons? I don't know. But yeah, that's the Calliope. What I'm going to do now is send you to the replays to just let you watch the memes, let you see how it handles. I've got 2 games that are fairly average and 2 games which are aces, just to show you the memes, because it's a fun tank to watch, realistically. And yeah, you'll enjoy those. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the T34 Calliope. And this first game is on this map, which is Sunset Coast. And on Sunset Coast, we are going to go towards about E6, try and get on the ledge there, see if we can catch anyone that's climbing up from the E line, because that way, you know, sometimes people try and climb up and you catch them out with the rockets. Plus, you can possibly get some memes, because again, the way you can use these rocket tubes is because you can't be penned through the rocket tubes. The rocket tubes will block shots, and if people shoot the rocket tubes, they can actually break them as well, which means you can't fire out of them, because it's just like breaking a gun module. But people can't pen you through them. So you can actually stick it over the ridge lines, shoot down over the ridge lines, and they can't actually see your tank. So that's a tactic for using this Calliope rocket system, and ridge lines like this here on Sunset Coast can work. So you can see, I can see that Calliope there. We slammed some rockets towards him, and none of them pen. They actually all splash, sadly. But we can see, when I switched to the main gun, I couldn't see him. But the rockets could. We end up taking a hit from that Calliope with the rockets though, and he splashes us for about 90 and kills our commander. We fire the rockets at the other Calliope, and he ends up killing our gunner, which means we've got no gunner now, which doesn't really matter too much for the rockets, but for our main 75mm gun, yeah, we can't actually do much. This Calliope comes in, it's like, well, eat rockets, my friend, and then we RBRT the shot in with the main cannon to shut him down. Something you got to remember is that you do have a main cannon, so do keep trying to switch between the two so that you can do some damage. There you go, that Calliope's doing it. I can barely see that Calliope, but he is firing the rocket straight over. Oh, that poor T-34 evaporated. Wow! The rockets really showed him. And that T34 is gone. We're up to 1200 damage. And we're just going to go after the shots into this other Calliope with the rockets because, you know, we want rockets to hit this guy. And, well, unfortunately, none of our rockets actually did hit. We do finally manage to put our commander back in, though. Not commander, our gunner, sorry, which is good. Always keeping an eye on that med kit to come back. So now the threat on our flank that we're on is gone. We're now going to see if we can push to get any more shots into these guys. So we fire the rockets at this KV-85's mid-plate, because you never know, it might go in on the mid-plate, but none of them actually do. And we start to use this main weapon as much as we humanly can do against this guy, but we're not doing too well. And you know why it's thrown me? Because when we're using the rocket launcher, we can see over that rock. And when I'm switching back to the 75mm, I can barely see over the rock. Throws you off a little bit because of how tall the rocket tubes are. But, yeah, you just got to bear in mind that you can actually, you know, shoot it. So we're just trying to get the shot into this M41 HMC. We get the nice shot in that damages its tracks. But, yeah, KB's going to shut that down. So we end up managing to at least help get rid of that M41 HMC. There's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. And that is the Calliope. Well, 1 tank left on the enemy team because Teak just shut down the ARL V39. Because we did have this game on the official Wargaming stream on Tuesday. And, yeah, we only have 1 tank left. So launch the rockets. Give them a volley. And, well, unfortunately, we didn't hit any of those volleys. But hey-ho, finished with the epic victory. The 4 kills, 1861 damage, sorry, 1531 base XP, 231 assistance. Decent game there for the Calliope on Sunset Coast. It's a fairly average game, really, where you manage to just go around rocketing things. You take a few hits. You don't really do too much damage. You know, 1400 damage is fairly average, really, for a tier 6. Or fairly, yeah, it is fairly average for a tier 6, really. And yeah, you don't really get too much damage done with the rockets because there just wasn't much we could pen, realistically. And that's even a top tier game in a tier 6, right? We just couldn't pen anything, really, with it. But you can do splash damage, and that's quite nice. So we're on this second map. And the second map is Westfield. And on Westfield, what I want to do is try and go to the ridge line in front of us. And on the ridge line in front of us, I can then try and look over it with my 75mm gun with 10 degrees of gun depression, and I can try and use the rockets to launch shots over the top of it too. The Comet gets spotted crossing up by the EBR Hotchkiss, which means we do know the stuff that we could. I mean, we could pen a Comet with these rockets, so that could be decent. And you're just seeing the mobility a bit going uphill. It is a little bit slow up the inclines, but it's not the slowest in the universe, which is pretty decent. We know that with that Comet going this way, we also spot, well, the EBR also spotted a Calliope as well. We know there's actually going to be stuff coming this way. There's a Panther, and it's like, Mr. Panther, I want to rocket you. Oh, there's the Calliope. Okay, we're just going to launch the rockets. The one thing you can do with these rockets, by the way, is I will just keep spamming the trigger, but to actually fire a volley with the rocket a rocket salvo, I suppose it's a salvo, you can literally just hold the trigger. All you have to do is hold the trigger, and it will launch those rockets like that. And we slammed some rockets into the Comet, but unfortunately the Hotchkiss picked him off. I just wanted to get a full rocket salvo into that guy. Now we're going for a volley into the Panther. It's like, Mr. Panther, I just want to get these rockets in, bro. I don't care if I take some hits. We launched the rockets in. Did we really do any damage there? No. No, we didn't. Now there's the SMV CC-56, and we're just pulling back. Luckily, the artillery misses us. We've got the main cannon going, trying to track him in place. We're just going to launch some rockets at this guy, because you never know. Memes, right? 62, 53, 47, 69, giggity. And we didn't really do any damage. For all that firing we've just done, we've only done 584 damage. Because that's this tank. You'll feel like you will have fired a lot and you'll have basically done nothing. And like I say, you've got to be very, very careful as well that you don't get too focused on firing the rockets, because it's quite easy for you to actually lose all of your hit points too. The Calliope on the bridge gets tracked. Go on, rockets, do it. And we actually shut him down with those rockets. Beautiful time. 4 of the 6 hit him. We switch back to the main cannon because most of the enemy team is on the K line, and so what we're going to do is we're going to push. But we're going to do the thing which is always best to do on Westfield if you've won that top area. Basically push over and get to the position about G34, and that way you can shoot the guys that are on the K line and you can get yourself safe on the ridge lines. So we've ended up tracking this VK. I fire the rockets at him at distance. Two of them, well, only one of them hits, and we do manage to pen a couple of shots into that guy. Obviously the premium rounds are better to fire at distance because of the shell velocity, and you are going to see that when we switch to the AP in a minute and try and fire at distance. You just see how bad the accuracy is on this gun at distance. Oh my lord, the shell velocity is awful. So you can see this is where I'm talking about. We managed to get ourselves into this ridge line. We can shoot along the K line quite safely from here. We can get hulled down, and it makes it very, very difficult for the enemy team to get shots at us unless they push all the way down the K line. So we can see the Calliope in the distance. We try to see if we could get a shot towards him, but we can't. There's an AMX Chaffee there that maybe we could actually shoot him over the ridgeline with the rockets, which we can, which is hilarious. So I launch one rocket towards him to see if it could hit him, but he ends up getting shot down by the E25. Now looking for more shots at these Calliopes in the distance. We fire the last set of rockets from our salvo, and we can't quite hit that guy. We get one shot in with the APCR. I switch back to the AP because I think, well, I don't need APCR to pen an STRV. We ricochet though, and you just saw how bad that shell velocity is. It just flew a little bit. So we're looking for some shots into the sides of these Calliopes. Oh, that one went straight into the side of his turret. They're in a bit of an awkward spot though because we can only just see the tips of the turrets. We're going to go for the meme rockets because why not? That guy gets shut down. That rocket's not going to hit, but we do actually hit one of the AP shells there into the side of the other Calliope. Just firing shots for fun at this point to see if we can actually get some random blind fires on these guys. It's quite funny watching these rockets fly. And now the Calliopes end up driving out. You can see the shell velocity. Look at the shell velocity shooting at these guys at distance. Oh my lord. It is so slow. You really have to make sure you lead the targets properly, otherwise it's just going to miss. And at that sort of range, just fire APCR, it's better. And we finished the game with 1700 damage, a bit of assistance for the tracking we got for the rockets not penning anyone, but tracking, and 1549 base XP again for the Calliope there. And now we're going on to the third replay, and the third replay we are on this map, which is Brain, if you want to work. What is it? Ghost. It's right there, in front of my eyes, my lord above. You need to look, you moron, to actually see what's going off. Anyway, Brain. We're on Ghost Town. And on Ghost Town, what I want to do normally is go to about F5. Because from F5, you can shoot down the middle of the town. And that way, actually, with this rocket tubes, you don't actually have to expose your tank whatsoever. You can just fire the rockets straight over. It can be quite funny. But what we're actually going to do is go and make the push down the B line. Because we want to see if we could just find anything isolated and then just slam them with rockets. Because there's two of us in a Calliope. And you never know what actually will go that way. Because you can push this way and then find that some light tanks across the B line, gives you free shots, that sort of thing. And you can have some memes. But we're not actually going to find anything, so we're just going to charge straight down the B line. But yeah, if this replay does sound a little bit quiet, it's because there's an audio bug with it, which is really irritating, that happens sometimes. I'm just going to let you listen to it for a second. If you can hear that, because it is going to be turned down quite a lot, it's going and it's really irritating, so I have turned this replay down a lot more compared to the other replays. So if it does sound quiet, that's why. There's no reason why. It's not your audio sets. Don't adjust your TVs, your headphones, etc. So yeah, you can see we've found nothing on Ghost Town so far on this side, so we're going to go attack where the two heavy tanks are currently spotted, because you never know, we might find something to actually rocket. The Calliope is currently spotted in the distance. The two heavy tanks, let's say, are at F7, and there is artillery. It's like, hello, Mr. Hummel. We end up firing the shot to try and get the shot in. We actually do get the shots there, and we fire the rockets, because it's like, why not? Eat it, Mr. Hummel. And all of the rockets hit and shot that Hummel down. Glorious times. Goodbye, Mr. Piggy. Eat rockets. There goes the Hummel in a weird spot, but I suppose it's because none of his team went the other way. We're now coming around the corner into the other tanks over here, like the Calliope. We fire some rockets towards him, and we shut down that Calliope with some rockets. The OIX Spezza comes round and gets some shots into Seb, and I'm thinking, right, okay, I need to get round and get this guy. But unfortunately for Seb, he gets shut down. The heavy tanks and medium tanks over there aren't looking at us currently. Their Calliope misses us, which is good. We need to get over and get rid of this OI. So we slam the rockets in, get rid of the OI with the rockets. Glorious times. It's always good when you get these rockets to work. And we're just trying to maneuver ourselves away from the other Calliope so that he doesn't rocket us with his rockets, because it's going to hurt, because, you know, you're actually a very good weapon against yourself. He drives out in front of our rockets, and unfortunately we did not do very well with shooting that, and we only hit one. He fires his salvo towards us, or two at least, and we're just staying in a position where we can keep him tracked, wait for our reload on our rockets, and then we can slam the final few rockets straight into the Calliope to shut him down. Goodbye, Mr. Calliope. We're on to our fourth kill of the game with 1.7k damage so far. The Stug 3G is the next port of call for me to try and get. He is currently in the middle, so we go for the shot, and unfortunately we don't pen it, but we do track it. Oh, we low rock. Oh, did we low rock now? I think, yeah, we think we did, because we got 115 alpha. Unfortunately, we didn't quite finish him off, but we do shut him down with a shot into the lower plate. We now load the rockets again, so launch them after this KV-85, which we could pen in the mid plate if we get lucky. All those rockets hit, but we are now being attacked by another Calliope and a Rampanzer. The Calliope fires all of his rockets at us, which is sad, because there goes a lot of our hit points. He pens us again, and I'm like, oh dear, I'm dead here. Can we get a rocket salvo at this Rampanzer, though? And the rockets go in, and oh lord, there goes his hit points. We get a shot into him to finish him off, and unfortunately the other Calliope comes round and finishes us off. But we finished the game with a really nice total for the tank, and we actually finished with the victory as well. 6 kills, 2.8k damage, 492 assistance, the ace tanker, the top gun, the high caliber, the 2000 base XP. A really nice game there for the Calliope. Showed the memes you can have with these rockets when they work. It's, like I say, it's a Memey tank. When you watch those rockets fly in, it's really satisfying when it works. I mean, that clip on that Rampanzer was beautiful. We didn't really pen many of those, but it was just our friends shooting them as well. But you just watch all the hit points evaporate if it works, and people just sit there in front of you, and it can be just funny. So we're on to the fourth and final replay, and we are on Azure Coast. This is the new map in the game, which is always good. We've got a new tank on a new map. It's always great when we've got a replay that we can show you both. And we're on Azure Coast, which is the community map. And to be honest, this is the first time I played it. This is the first time I played the map. I had absolutely no idea where I was going, so we're just going to drive in a direction. There is no thought process behind the direction I'm driving in. I'm just driving, okay? I have no idea. You've just got to make it up as you go along when you get a new map and see what you can do. So we're crossing here, and we end up finding the Hellcat 105. It's like, okay, he's there. We get a free shot into him, and then we start spotting the medium tank next down there, and also the TD that just gets lit up, and it's like, okay, it's quite lucky that we found that Hellcat 105, because I would have just charged down there and I probably would have got wrecked. So we're going to use this rubble pile in the buildings in front of us to see if we can get some shots towards the Hellcat. I do want to rocket it if I can, so we're just going to launch some rockets before we actually use the main cannon, because I was hoping that he would pull out, which he did, and that I could just have a Memey rocket barrage against him go straight in. So we get a shot towards the Calliope, who is firing at us. He's still hitting us over the rubble. He can only see our rocket tubes, but he's hitting us over the rubble pile. We're going to look down this alleyway to see if there's anything here, but there's not. So I want to try and attack this T34 if I can. We launch the rockets at the T34. They all go towards him, but none of them pen, so we don't really do too much damage to him. And we shut him down with the main cannon. Unfortunately, he just damaged our Armour there as well. The Hellcat 105 is crossing in the open, so we try and get a shot towards him. What the? Okay. That shot went where it wants to go. Okie dokies. If you want to do that gun, that's fine. And we unfortunately missed that shot on that guy. The T1 Heavy in the middle, though, makes me go, ooh, maybe rockets towards the T1 Heavy. He's crashing into the building, so yes, rockets towards the T1 Heavy. We end up getting tracked. It's something you've got to be very, very careful of with the Calliope here, by the way. You've just seen it happen, that if you aren't all the way around a corner, there's a very high chance that the rocket, as you've just seen, will hit the building. Because it really depends on which side of the launcher the next set of rockets are coming from. So you can see the rocket launcher wasn't all the way round the building, and a little bit of the left-hand side of it was actually behind this building next to me, and thus we hit the building instead of the tank that we could clearly see through our reticle, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So you've got to be very, very careful of that. So we start side scraping on this Jagdpanzer IV, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to launch some rockets, because I want some Memey rockets towards this Jagdpanzer IV. None of them pen, but we do get a bit of splash damage on him. We're up to 1,050 damage, and we've lost most of our hit points because we've taken some silly hits while trying to just launch rockets at people. We shut down the T1 Heavy, and this is the thing you've got to be very careful of when you are driving the Calliope, is that if you are so determined to get some of these rockets at people, that your hit points may just vanish, and you do have to be, I say, you have to be very, very careful. So we're trying to get some shots towards this Calliope. We launched some rockets towards him, but at this distance, like I say, it's a bit difficult for rockets to get anywhere near a Calliope or any other tank, because if they're looking your way, those rockets are just going to... They take forever to get there, and you can see the rockets come in and go, nope, I'm not taking those hits. As you've just seen me do against their Calliope, I went, oh, there's his rockets, pull back. And that's what we did, and we managed to get safe from them. And I decided, okay, I'm not going to deal with that Calliope. There's a medium tank and a TD in the middle, which is probably the Jagdpanzer IV, and another Calliope. And I'm looking at the Calliope going, oh, I don't really... They're both looking this way. I don't particularly want to deal with this too much. We're going to try and get a cheeky salvo into the other Calliope. We both miss our salvos. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So what we're going to do instead is try and attack where the Calliope is currently going down the 9 line. We're going to try and attack him from the ridge line above, because I know that this ridge line here clearly looks above the Calliope, and maybe I could look down, but he ends up getting shut down. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go through the tunnel, because there's a tunnel and we like tunnels. But nope, we find a Hellcat, and that makes me go, okay, you know what, I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to go after this Hellcat from the ridgeline above. That's the plan. I was thinking about doing it for the Calliope that got shut down, but actually I could probably do it again from up here with this tank against the Hellcat. We get detected, and it's like, oh goodness me, what is that? Oh no, it's the other Calliope. Oh, there's the Jagdpanzer IV. The Jagdpanzer IV hits us. We fire one rocket, RBRT style, and it flies in. Good times. We try and get the final rockets against that Calliope, but I cannot take a hit from his rockets whatsoever. He's fired his shots. I try and get shot into him. Oh no, this is awkward. Come on, rockets, come on, rockets, come on, rockets, please, please, please. We fire the rockets preemptively, and oh yes, that's so satisfying. We bounce his main cannon shot and shut him down. Ooh, that was close. We should have died there. Well, okay, we'll take it. Because of how slow these rockets are, it's sometimes if you know someone's just going to charge around the corner, because naturally he had all the hit points, so he's going to be as bold as brass to come after us. He was always going to charge around that corner. So because the rockets are so slow, you can just preemptively fire around the corner, and the rockets will eventually, well, we'll probably get there by the time they are driving around the corner, and thus you'll be able to take away all their hit points as we've just done there. So we fire a rocket RBRT into the Hellcat as we drop down and get our 5th kill of the game for 2k damage. We should have died a long time ago. We should be dead. But memes, and this tank is memes, and we're having a good time here on Azure Coast. There's currently 3 tanks left. There's a Churchill 1 that's in the distance against our 2 medium tanks, the artillery, and a Fury. That Churchill 1 only has 100 hit points left. And again, like I say, it's against artillery and the other 2 medium tanks, so I don't expect this Churchill 1 to survive. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can find anyone else. We check how many rockets we've got. We've only got 7 left. There's the Fury. We get a shot RBRT out with the main cannon. We fire all the rockets and pull back. It's like, please miss. He ends up missing. Some of those rockets actually pen. We go for the RBRT as well. Unfortunately, it missed, though, sadly, so we didn't get the shot in. One of the 2 of those penned, which is glorious. We're just watching this Fury now, because that was the first time he got spotted as well. I was like, oh my goodness me, that's the Fury. So I'm thinking, okay, he looked like he was possibly going towards the buildings. Maybe I can cross this open gap. But no, he's actually going that way, and he caught me out. But he ends up firing HE, which means he does no damage. We go for the shot to finish him off, but unfortunately it bounces. But the last shell goes in to shut him down for our 6th kill of the game. Nearly 3,000 damage. Let's go, Calliope. Good times. There's only 1 tank left on the enemy team. We did get very lucky against that Fury, by the way. But you take the rough with the smooth, right? That's the way RNG can go. There's only 1 tank left on the enemy team. It is the artillery, which means he'll probably be somewhere towards their spawn, so we've just got to get into a position to spot it if we can. And there we go, we end up finding it. The SU-122 4A? No, 122A, there you go. Sorry, I was trying to remember what the Tier 5 Russian artillery was, or Soviet artillery. And there, yeah, it's the Tier 5, it's the SU-122A. We unfortunately missed the shot with our standard shell, so what we've only got 1 rocket left. He's preparing to shoot the medium tank that's spotted. So we fire one rocket, and what we did there was waited for the rocket to hit the SU-122A before we fired, so that he didn't move away from the rocket before it hit him. And we managed to farm the rest of his hit points, and we finished the game with a really great total for the Calliope. Finished the game with the 7 kills, 3.3k damage, 2.5k base XP. A really nice game there for the Calliope. The Ace Tanker, Devastator, Top Gun, High Caliber, the Steel Wall as well for blocking damage. I think that's for hitting the gun module a lot. And yeah, a really nice game in there for the Calliope. A nice Ace Tanker, and it's just a Memey game. Realistically, it's a very Memey tank. It's not the most competitive in the universe, but you can just have a laugh. Just have a laugh with it, and you'll have a bit of fun. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!